You work, you save, you pay taxes. But have you ever asked yourself, like, who decides how much money is actually out there? Is it the president? The government? Do they just, like, print more when they need it? Here's the truth. Most money isn't printed. It's created, and the people who create it probably aren't who you think. Most people, when they hear the phrase printing money, imagine this: giant machines churning out stacks of cash 24/7. Here's the truth. That's not how most money is created. Not even close. In fact, cash, the physical bills in your wallet, makes up less than 10% of all the money in the world. The rest? It exists only as numbers on a screen. It's not printed. It's created digitally. So when people say the government is printing too much money, what they're really talking about is something far more invisible and far more powerful. So if most money isn't printed, where does it actually come from? The short answer, it's created digitally, out of nothing. And there are two main players that make this possible: central banks and commercial banks. Let's explain the central bank first. The government spends money on things like roads, schools, healthcare, and sometimes liberate countries in a very explosive way. But often, taxes aren't enough to cover all of it. So the government borrows by issuing something called a government bond. A bond is just a promise. Lend me money now. I'll pay you back later with interest. These bonds are sold to banks, investors, even foreign countries. But these guys buy the bonds because they believe the government will pay them back and that the bond will hold value. There's one special player, the US Central Bank, also known as the Fed. It cannot legally buy bonds directly from the government, but it can create new money to buy those bonds from the market. Here is how it works. Step 1, the central bank decides it wants to create money. Step 2, to do that, it plans to buy government bonds from the market. Step 3, it creates new money digitally, literally by typing numbers into a system, and uses that money to buy the bonds. This new money isn't backed by gold or silver or cows or anything. It's backed by trust that the government will eventually pay its debt. And if all of this feels a bit confusing, just remember this. The Fed has one special magical power. It turns government debt into real money. So if it wants to create cash, it finds debt and types dollars into the system to buy it. If promises from the government can become real money, why not yours? Yes, you. And here's the craziest part: you and millions of people just like you are constantly creating massive amounts of money through commercial banks. Imagine you walk into a bank, you sign a loan contract, just a promise to pay back later, and voila, new money appears in your account. Like, no one transferred it from someone else. Like, the bank simply created it as a deposit out of your promise. This happens every single day. It's how commercial banks create the majority of money in the economy today. I will say it again, most of the money in the economy isn't created by the government or even the central bank. It's created by you, the people, through commercial banks every time they issue a loan. That mortgage you took out, that business loan, they didn't pull the money from someone else's account. They typed it into existence. You sign a loan contract, they credit your account. Boom. New money is born, not from savings, but from debt. So what about your deposit? You know, the money in your bank account, aren't they using it to lend to other people or something? And if they can create new money anyway, why do they need your money at all? Well, the answer is actually pretty simple. Your deposit isn't used to fund loans. It's used to settle payments. When you swipe your card, transfer money to another bank, or withdraw cash, the bank needs real central bank money to complete that transaction. So your deposit helps your bank stay liquid. It's not funding loans. It's making sure you can move money when you need to. But when it comes to lending, using deposits is just way too inconvenient. I mean, they can literally create new money with a keystroke. So why would they bother moving your money around? And that loan the bank gave you? On their books, it's just an IOU, a promise you'll repay. But if your bank wants to use that IOU to pay another bank or get real central bank reserves, they can package your loan and sell it, either to other banks, investors, or even to the central bank indirectly. And once the central bank accepts that loan as collateral or buys a bond backed by it, boom, now it's real central bank money. That's how they turn signature into balance and into real dollars. Let's zoom out for a second and look at the system as a whole. Like, what do we see? Banks can turn debt promises into real money no matter whose debt it is. Yours, the government's, doesn't matter. If they trust you'll pay it back and the system allows it, poof, money appears. Not because someone saved it, not because there's gold, silver, or even a sacred cow behind it, but because someone somewhere promised to repay. That's what backs modern money, IOUs, and trust. Or in other words, quote unquote, trust me, bro. I'll pay you later. So both you and the government can create money. But there's a big difference. Let's talk about it. The government plays the game on God mode. It can issue new debt to pay old debt whenever it needs. Why? Because it has a giant machine behind it. A tax system, an army, a printing press, and your belief that it'll always pay back. You create money too. Every time you take out a loan, every time you swipe your credit card. But here's the cruel twist. You didn't even know you were doing it. The bank just sits there, watches you sign a promise, types some numbers into a screen, and hands you back your own debt, now dressed up as money. Then they charge you interest on the very thing you helped them create. When I borrow from a bank, I'm not actually borrowing someone else's money. I create money for myself with nothing but a promise to repay. But I still have to pay a fee. Yeah, people call it interest, but really it's the cost of creating my own money. Some people pay that fee for a decade or more. Why? Because I'm using money with a government seal inside a financial system I don't control. And only a licensed bank can perform the magic trick. That's the secret sauce. Money today is born entirely from trust, like trust that someone someday will pay back what they owe. And since the government is the most quote-unquote trustworthy borrower of all, it gets to borrow like crazy. But you get screened, scored, and judged. Because no one's really sure you can pay it back. That's why credit scores exist. So the next time you spend $1, remember this. It came from someone's debt, and it lives only because we all collectively believe it will be repaid. No one knows exactly where it began, no one knows when it ends, and no one knows what happens when that trust runs out. A foggy system built on invisible promises. So now you know money isn't just printed, it's promised, and you're part of the system, like it or not. But here's the good news. Understanding how money is created is the first step to changing how you use it. You don't have to be powerless. You just have to stop playing blind. In a world built on trust and debt, the real asset is awareness. Next time someone says money doesn't grow on trees, just smile and remember it does. The tree of promises. If you want more uncomfortable truths, don't forget to like this video and subscribe. Because in a world built on debt, awareness might just be the only real asset you have.